Right. And I know Capricorn, she testified, right, that, Diddy told her that he'll kill her after he found out that she used to work for Suge Knight.
Well, I think it came up to the point where it's that he took her, Paul and him, took her for a walk in the park. Oh, man. They be watching too many movies. They took her to a walk in the park, and they was trying to get some clarity on her relationship with Suge.
In the world of hip-hop, few stories are as powerful and controversial as the East Coast-West Coast rivalry that led to the tragic deaths of Tupac Shakur and the Notorious B.I.G. Even years later, the drama continues, and now Gene Deal, former bodyguard of Diddy, is clapping back at Suge Knight after new claims were made about Biggie's murder. Suge Knight, who once ran Death Row Records, has been locked up for years, but recently he made some bold statements suggesting that Gene Deal, the man people trusted to expose the industry, had something to do with Biggie's death, or at least knew more than he let on. Now, Gene Deal is setting the record straight, and he's not holding back. Gene starts by talking about a woman named Capricorn. She once worked for Knight, but later ended up around Diddy and Bad Boy. According to court testimony, Diddy didn't trust her. He and his associate Paul even took her for a walk in the park to question her about her relationship with Suge Knight. They wanted to know, was she a spy? Was she still loyal to Suge Knight?
And made some kind of accusations to her that if they find out that her and Suge is a certain way, that they would unalive her in some kind of way. That wasn't clear in the court because there was a lot of objections on that, you understand? But I think the judge may have let that ride because of the fact that she was telling her what she heard and her feelings and how they made her feel.
Things got tense. Capricorn said Puff was paranoid, maybe even dangerous. He allegedly told her that if she was too close to Suge, it could cost her life. She felt threatened. In court, the details were messy. Lots of objections, but the message was clear. Diddy was scared of Suge Knight and the power he once had. Now here's where Gene steps in. Suge Knight had been name-dropping Gene in interviews, implying that he had a deeper role in the East Coast-West Coast beef than he claimed. But Gene's response? Calm but firm. Gene says he's not here to bash Suge. He actually has respect for him. Suge was once a man who had it all. Money, power, houses, private jets. He was on top of the world. But now Gene points out Suge only has Mrs. Palmer, his own palm, because everything else is gone. Gene believes Suge ended up in prison because he made some bad decisions, but he also feels the justice system didn't treat Suge fairly in some ways.
Suge should be in jail for what he did. You understand? Because it was clearly, you could see somebody was coming at Suge with a gun. And the law states here in New York, if somebody is attacking you and you gotta flee, and somebody gets hurt in the interim of you fleeing, whether it's in your car, your bike, or whatever the situation is, that individual who has that gun that's trying to shoot you, and you end up running over a pedestrian or doing something like that, that's his case. That's that dude who did that to you.
For example, in the case that landed Suge behind bars, Gene says it looked like someone came at him with a gun. Suge tried to escape in his car and someone got hurt. According to Gene, in New York law, if someone tries to kill you and you're running away, and in that escape, someone accidentally gets hurt or killed, it's not your fault. The attacker is the one responsible. Gene believes that logic should have applied to Suge, but while he doesn't think Suge should be in jail for that incident, he also believes Suge faced instant consequences for other things he did in his life. Gene puts it like this: every time Suge did something wrong, God punished him quickly, no delay. Gene says that's different from Diddy. With Diddy, Gene says the consequences are just now catching up to him, all at once. He remembers hearing Diddy say something cold. I don't care if Pac dies. I don't care if Big dies. Suge Knight can go to jail. According to Gene, that wasn't just a random comment. He believes it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. It actually happened. Pac died. Biggie died. Suge went to jail. And now? Gene says God is dealing with Diddy in his own way. Slowly, harshly.
I heard Puff say, I don't give a fuck if Pac gotta die. I don't give a fuck if Big gotta die. Suge Knight can go to jail. I'ma say this for the umpteenth time. That was a self-fulfilling prophecy that this demon got from some other demons, because it happened exactly what he said. What he said happened exactly.
All the things Diddy's allegedly been involved in, the City College tragedy, the death of Big, other mysterious incidents, they're all catching up to him now. Then Gene really gets to the heart of the matter. He says to Suge, flat out, you're wrong. Gene says he never even knew Reggie Wright, the former death row security chief, until a few years ago when a podcaster introduced them. He says he heard Reggie say something disgusting, that they should have killed Biggie, and after that, Gene didn't want to have anything to do with him. Gene swears he never worked with anyone at death row, never called Reggie, never hired security for Bad Boy, and never had anything to do with organizing protection for the crew. He had his own contract with Diddy. He was Puff's personal bodyguard, not someone who handled business deals or hired help. So if someone from Bad Boy called Reggie, it wasn't Gene. It was probably someone named Paul, also known as Uncle Paulie. He wants to make it crystal clear his name should not be coming up in these stories. He says Suge is being fed lies. Lies from people Gene calls band boys. Folks who hate him and are just trying to stir things up. Even though Gene is correcting Suge, he still shows him some respect. Gene says as a man, he actually looked up to him in some ways. He remembers back in the day when things were getting dangerous between the East and West Coast, Suge actually tried to squash the beef. According to Gene, there was a moment when Eric B., Big D, and others were trying to set up a peace meeting between everyone involved. Tupac and Biggie were still alive at the time, and guess what? Puff didn't want to go, he refused. But Suge did. Suge wanted peace even though he and Puff didn't get along anymore. Gene remembers seeing Suge and Pac one night after a show at the House of Blues. Suge was in a red Rolls Royce, Pac was in a white car, and Puff pulled up to ask if there were any problems. Suge looked him in the eye and said, I don't know what problems you have. Even after the death of Jake, someone close to the circle, Suge stayed calm. Gene says that showed something about Suge's character. Still, Gene isn't gonna stay quiet when lies are being told about him. He tells Suge directly, you said Gene Deal's name, but you got the wrong guy. If anyone reached out to Reggie about security, it wasn't Gene, it was Paul. Gene ends with a warning. He tells Suge to be more careful about who he trusts. There are people out here spreading false stories just to cause more drama. And Suge being locked up might not realize that he's being fed lies by people with bad intentions. In the end, Gene isn't trying to start a war. He's not trying to make Suge look bad. He says it's all about respect and truth. He just wants to make sure the right story is being told. He doesn't want his name tied to something he didn't do. He didn't call anyone at death row. He didn't organize any security. He didn't make any backdoor deals. He was just a bodyguard, doing his job, protecting his client, and trying to stay out of the chaos. Gene's message is simple. Stop spreading lies. Get the facts straight and don't let history get rewritten by people who weren't even there.